Hello and welcome to my 2026 Wilderness Slayer guide. I've been doing Wilderness Slayer the past couple weeks and did a bunch of testing, made a whole spreadsheet from scratch, and I want to share the results with you. Why would you want to do Wildy Slayer? There are three main reasons I can think of for people to do Wildy Slayer. First one is the uniques. So if either you're a Clogger or an Ironman, or even worse, an Ironman Clogger, you want the rev weapons and larran's keys for Dagon, and maybe pick up some hard clues, elite clues, and other miscellaneous drops on the way. The other reason is points. Wilderness Slayer is still the best points per hour in the game, but does require some setup to get those maximum points. And the third thing is doing Wilderness Slayer for XP. It's not the greatest option outside of the wilderness, is typically better XP, but maybe you're just looking for a change of pace and want to try out Wildy Slayer and get some nice little larran's key loot. Shout out to Redeyejedi. A lot of the point tasks here are just taken from his guide on Wilderness Slayer, but I've added a lot of other tasks as well to it. I'm not going to go too in depth with the plugins because I could talk about those for like 15 minutes and the video is already long enough. So yeah, just check the description for all the important plugins and the paste bins. So for general block skips and unlocks, this is what I would recommend. I will be more Slayer and bigger and better, help with larran's keys. Watch the Birdie is just a free block if you disable AVNCs. I would extend Abbey Demons and Revenants, and I would not extend Nechryaels and Black Dragons. In my opinion, Nechryaels and Black Dragons are good enough tasks to include doing usually, but they're not good enough to extend them. So you do them for points pretty much. Then optionally, task storage is nice QL. You can store, for example, 2 Artio tasks or 2 barrage tasks to make you have to re-gear less. And then Slayer Helm is not really necessary, to be honest, because I would recommend skipping Dust Devils. And that's the only task where the Slayer Helm has any advantage over just the imbued Black Mask. And then like a boss, optionally, if you want, you can do bosses on task. I would recommend disabling this once you're down to 2 or less bosses you still need items from. Okay, so this is the task list I recommend for irons. This maximizes hard clues, elite clues, while going for your rev weapons, and is slightly positive in points. I would recommend doing the bosses if you have decent enough weapons on task, otherwise wait for the rev weapons. If you can't do the bosses, just add some other point tasks, for example scorpions or spiders. You might be wondering about a few collection log monsters that are missing that could be done on tasks like Earth Warriors or Elder Chaos Druids. That's because these are better to do off task than on task because of the travel time. So for example, for Earth Warriors, you spend about 2 minutes traveling back and forth for every task, and you can only kill about 100 or so, which takes like 10 minutes. So that means out of 12 minutes, you spend 15% of your time just running back and forth. If you do these off tasks, you can just stay there for hours unless you get interrupted by Pkers, and this is way more efficient. Also, the Slayer Helm doesn't do anything because Void is better anyways for these tasks. There's also Dust Devils that are missing, which might be controversial to some. Dust Devils don't have any drops that are interesting. They drop pretty low amount of larran's keys, and they drop no clues. Larran's keys are not really that valuable because by the time you finish your rev weapons, you're getting over 1,000 larran's keys. So the chances are very high that you will finish Dagon by the time you finish with your rev weapons anyways. So those extra keys don't really do anything. Wilderness Slayer is the single best method for Slayer points in the game, but requires the setup of the block list. Just use Expeditious Bracelets on every single task, skip Bloodwells and Ents as those are slow tasks, and disable like a boss and I will Demo Slayer. You can expect above 300 points per hour. This is my recommended setup for point farming. We're using Webweaver and Venator bow. If you don't have a Webweaver bow, downgrade to Blowpipe and a Bowfer or some other long-range weapon, and downgrade the Necklace of Rupture to a Glory. It's like 1.4 mil I'm risking. In my experience, you pretty much don't get attacked at these random spots, so I'm fine with risking. These are the tasks I would recommend doing for maximum XP per hour. The ones using slaughter bracelets are considered efficient, meanwhile the other tasks are there to balance out the points. I've also added revs to upkeep ether. Keep in mind that the stated number of 78k XP per hour requires you to have rev weapons, so it's not possible to achieve this from the start. The Thamran Scepter is about 20% better DPS in the Wilderness for barrage tasks than a Kodai. I've included the Dragon tasks here because between the Prayer XP and the Slayer XP, they are efficient to do. You can also add Black Dragons if you want, but I would use Expeditious Bracelets on those. This is my setup for all the Slayer Cave barrage tasks. I'm risking an occult. If you don't want to risk an occult, downgrade to a glory, but it's very easy to escape Pkers there. I only died once in over 400 Wilderness Slayer task. So yeah, that's why I'm also comfortable bringing so many charges of barrage. Also, since the changes to the Trova Parchment system, you can bring untradables for free. So I'm bringing Diary Cape, Max Cape. Diary Cape is for getting a new task. Max Cape is for banking and POH. Gem Bag, Herb Bag, obviously the cannon and the cannonballs. The cannonballs are the only thing really risk that is kind of painful to lose. And then, depending on the task, Expeditious Slaughter Bracelets and some bonus Prayer XP items. The most important one is the Ash Sanctifier. You don't risk these either anymore, and you don't even lose charges, by the way. And lastly, I have set auto charges to the Bone Crusher, to the Ash Sanctifier, and also to my Thamran Scepter. So if you want to do that, just right-click, configure charges. I have set my rev weapons to 1000 charges, so that means you're risking 2000 ether. And it fills it up every time you withdraw it from the bank. If you want to make your own skips and blocks, you can consider consulting my spreadsheet. You can just get this in the description, click on File, and then make a copy, and you can make a local copy for yourself that only you can edit. It gives you a bunch of numbers. They're explained in the document themselves. So won't go into too much depth. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Just saying that everything that's here is basically the current blocks and skips, what you can expect to get. And everything that's down here is what you can expect to get to 303 weapons. So how many keys, how many rev tasks do you need to do, and so on. Fun fact, all of the bosses are you actually go over rate on KC on all the bosses if you do them on task, except for Calvar'ion, you wouldn't. Because of the Hellhounds, but yeah, you go over rate. So this spread assumes that these numbers assume that you stop doing these bosses at some point. I should probably also assume that you stop doing barrage tasks at some point. So because once you finish Dagon High, there's not much reason to. But you know, it's in here, so you can see that Larran's keys are not an issue at all. If you go for all 3 rev weapons, you will more than likely finish them all. And finish the whole Dagon High outfit by the time you're done. And on the right here, there's just a little comparison. If you're curious, how long would it take if you did all this separately with like Turiel and gathering hard clues and elite clues separately and doing the bossing separately? So you can see here the projected hours is 326 and doing it separately is 416. So you do save a bit of time doing this combined on task. Now let's get into the setups and guides for every single task. Hellhounds with a Venator bow and a cannon are the best source of hard clues for an Ironman. They clock in at 7 larran keys an hour and 18.5 hard clues an hour. Before you take off for the task, make sure you clear all your hard clue scrolls out of your bank and drop them on the floor to juggle them. Mage because of Dragonfire. Place your cannon while depassing the Hellhounds. Ankou are a good task for points that also drop a decent amount of larran keys and hard clues. Simply teleport to Chaos Temple and run to the Slayer Cave. The thing I'm using there is an ectoplasmator for a tiny amount of extra prey XP, but really it doesn't matter at all, in case you were wondering. Just run in, plop down the cannon, run back and forth, and stack your Ankous. For bears, teleport to Ferox Enclave and run up to the bears. Now just run back and forth on the tree line, shooting bears as you make your way to the cannon spot that was discovered by Redeyejedi. Put your cannon down there, and then run north and clear the bears there. And now you just run back and forth in this like little triangle, east to west on the tree line, and then north at the ruins. And you don't have to hop worlds anymore. For Earth Warriors, teleport up to Padua and run through the Edgewell Wilderness Dungeon. This task, in my opinion, is not worth doing for the Champion Scroll. That's because it doesn't get sped up by being on task, since Void is actually better than the Slayer Helm here. And you waste a bunch of time running to and from the spot. So every time you get a task, you have to spend like a minute running to the spot and running back. So you're just slowing down your kills per hour, and also they pretty much don't drop any larran's keys. So only worth doing if you're looking for points, pretty much. Just put down your cannon to the right there, and like any other task where you're singles with a cannon, try to avoid combat by just attacking everything that's close to you, so the cannon can fire freely. And just stand here. Lesser Demons are a task that is worth doing if you didn't get the Lesser Demon Champion Scroll passively from the Krilled Tsutsaroth minion. That's where you most likely will get it. So it kind of depends on if you're planning to go there anytime soon. If you haven't gotten it yet, use Slaughter Bracelets. If you're doing this for points, use Expeditious Bracelets. Besides the Champion Scroll, the drops are kind of bad, aside from a few larran's keys. So for this task, simply get to the cannon spot, put down your cannon, and shoot everything with your Venator bow. Mammoths are a decent task that gives about 8 medium close an hour and 5 larran's keys an hour. Biggest downside is that it uses a ton of cannonballs. So I would class this as a decent task that might be worth doing for some, for the extra points, but probably not worth using Slaughter Bracelets on. Teleport to Ferox and run south. Make sure you pot it up. Web Beaver has 1,000 charges in it, like always. And shoot some mammoths while you're setting up the cannon. Scorpions are pretty much the best task in the game for points. If you don't want to do Scorpia, simply use the lever and run to Scorpia's lair. Once you're there, go inside. Somebody's there. You can crash people, but I think it's kind of annoying, so I'll just switch to a different world, even if it takes a little bit of time. Now we go in, put down our cannon. Move out again, and then we just fill our cannon whenever we get the message that it's empty and shoot the scorpions on the outside. And this task takes like 2 or 3 minutes. It's really fast. For poison spiders, teleport to wilderness crabs. We're using a Venator bow and a cannon for this one. This task takes around 4 minutes on average compared to the 3 minutes for the spiders on the hill near the Lava Dragon Isle, but they have a lot of higher chance to drop larran's keys at a 6 larran's keys an hour. Spiders are one of the best point tasks in the game. Teleport to the Revenant Cave northern entrance, run northeast. We're using a web weaver and a cannon. If you don't have web weaver, use the blowpipe. Simply kill these spiders. Task takes about 3 minutes on average. Note that you could also do these in front of Venenatus. And they will be slightly slower, but drop a decent amount of larran keys. These basically don't drop larran keys at all. For Chaos Druids, teleport to Badeva and run into the Edgeroll dungeon. I prefer Chaos Druids as a point task over doing the Elder Chaos Druids, for the same reason I don't like doing Zombie Pirates on task. You don't really get any DPS bonus because you could also just use Void there at Elder Chaos Druids. Usually Elder Chaos Druids are pre-tagged, so you're losing a bunch of KC at the start. And then you also have to spend time after the task, hopping and losing the teleblock. That's also annoying. It just doesn't end up saving any time for the Elder Chaos rope grind doing these on task. So I think it's not worth doing them on task. They're too annoying. For these regular ones, just go here, put down the cannon, and now we just stick to the north here. And we just shoot any Chaos Druid that attacks us. Epidemons are one of the best tasks you can get. They drop around 15 larran keys an hour, 11 hard clues an hour, and 1.2 elite clues an hour. Bring 1000 cannonballs, Ash Sanctifier, and a couple of slaughter bracelets. Make sure to juggle your hard clues before you leave. Besides all these drops, they also give 120k Slay XP an hour and I think about 80k prayer. And they're also a very good task for superior drops, so hearts or gems. I myself got my second heart at Epidemons. So for all those reasons, I'm using slaughter bracelets and I'm extending Epidemons. For this task, it's very worth using dancing alts if you have any. And they really process much easier. And also the teleport anchoring scroll from Zombie Pirates. I would get that before doing Worldy Slayer in general. But it helps a lot. So we put the cannon right behind the 30 line so we can refill it without leaving the 30 line. And now we just stand at this corner and let our auto-retaliate for the most part and let our alts stack the Epidemons. Because around this corner, Pkers typically log in like in the hallway to the east. So you need to go round first to TB you, which means you have plenty of time to seed pot out if you want to. Dust levels are a task that I would not consider worth doing for clogging purposes, only for points or XP. That's because besides the larran keys, which they drop a decent amount of, they don't drop anything else. They don't drop clues, their regular drops are not very good, and also their superior is not very good. Has a very low chance of dropping heart or gem. Just a quick point task. Because as we established earlier, the larran keys are not really that valuable since you're bound to get more than you will ever need on task just by going for your rev weapons and doing passive tasks on the way. Jellies are the single best method for ironmen for hard clues. They do beat Hellhounds, but obviously you can only do Jellies on task in the Wilderness Slayer Cave, unlike Hellhounds. So we're taking advantage of getting these tasks by using slaughter bracelets. It's up to 30 hard clues an hour. Teleport to Chaos Temple. Just plop down your cannon. Run back and forth to stack and put out your jellies. Nechryaels are one of these tasks that I can't quite decide whether or not it's worth using slaughter bracelets or not on them. They drop a decent amount of Slayer XP, around 120,000, and around 35,000 Prey XP with the Ash Sanctifier. They also drop 14 larran keys an hour and 9 hard clues an hour. So they're kind of like alright-ish, and they also drop some alchables. Besides that, they don't really drop much else, and their superiors are not that great for hard hunting. So for me, I use Expeditious Bracelets on them. I also think they're kind of annoying with their whole spawns that they spawn that like you accidentally click. Don't use Dancing Holds. I think it's not worth bringing them if you're using Expeditious Bracelets. Just use your cannon, stack them manually, and there you go. Okay, so this is an overview for the revs. In my opinion, these are the 5 types of revs that are worth doing. It's either quads, orcs, dark beasts, dragons, or knights. Note that they are all very close, within about 10% or so. If you don't have a rev weapon yet, and by rev weapon I mean a mace or a webweaver bow, the scepter is really bad, I would stick to quads or orcs, because they are less HP and less defense, so they're less likely to heal. Once you get your webweaver or mace, you can switch to one or the other 3. Out of these, my favorites are quads for pre-webweaver and dark beasts for after webweaver. But it's all pretty much down to preference, and also down to how many Pkers you see. In my experience, dragons, knights, and orcs have the most Pkers, while quads and dark beasts have the least Pkers. Revenant Quads, these are the best revs to kill in my opinion when you're just starting out, when you don't have a rev weapon yet. Or, you know, when you got a Thermal Scepter first, RIP to you. The best method is to do Scold with a blowpipe, but you could also go Scold with, for example, a magic shortbow or a rune crossbow, but being Scold and on task is the most important. Teleport to the middle Rev Cave entrance. And we're going here with Ancient and a little swap, mage swap, to escape PK. So our main escape is freeze logging. Whenever a PK logs in, you try to freeze and either run under them and log out, or run around the corner and log out. 2350 total words, if you can access them, are ideal. You barely see PKs. I've seen like 2 in 2000 KC here. Died to one of them. Yeah, so, and then you just go in a circle, kill everything, and don't forget to swap to slaughter bracelets to prolong your task when you're about to kill them. They have to be equipped when the XP drop comes. So on this first one, I'm doing it 1 tick too late, just for demonstration purposes only. So yeah, just equip it when it's about to die. So this was correct. And we keep going. Yeah, just go in a circle like that, and hope no PKs log in. Which they probably won't. Oh! Yeah, so like and subscribe for a guaranteed 2 KC crossbow. Confirmed. Definitely true. And yeah, don't put that in the looting bag, by the way. You will guaranteed lose it on death. If you bring a blowpipe, then you probably, you know, you're losing one of them. So, yeah. Revenant Orks are a good alternative to quads before you get your Webweaver or Ursine Chain Mace. They are, compared to quads, they are pretty similar in terms of how long it takes to get a drop. You tend to see more PKs in my experience, which is annoying. But also escaping the Pkers is easier once they do get on you, because you can either just teleport away instantly if you're quick enough, or just barrage and escape around the corner. Since it's lower level wildy, there's also less people that can attack you. Otherwise, it's just like all the other revs. Attack them with your blowpipe and use Bracelet of Slaughter swaps to prolong your rev tasks. I would not recommend these post crossbow or chainmace though, because better options exist. And we'll get to those in a sec. Oh, and you should probably be praying mage while you're sitting here so your TB gets halved. Don't do it like I did. Revenant Dark Beasts are my favorite spot to do revs after getting the Web Weaver. We're going there with Telegrab, which allows us to stay below the 30 line at all times. We're also bringing Entangle in case we need to escape some PKs. So basically the idea is we're staying below the 30 line, telegrabbing the loot, and instantly seed potting out whenever PKR gets on us. And if we fail to seed pot in time, then we try to freeze lock using Entangle and then getting around a corner. In my experience, there are barely any PKs here. Definitely less than Orks. And the kills are still pretty good rate for drops. They're a little bit worse than Dragons and Knights, but it's much easier to escape PKs. And as you can see, I'm bringing 2 Divines. You really barely get interrupted here. And you can very often do a full 40-minute trip in one go. And even if you do have to leave, it's really fast to go back here with the new Rev Cave entrance there. Revenant Dragons are, in theory, the best way to get Rev weapons once you have a Web Weaver or a Chainmace. I say in theory because in practice it ends up being quite a PKing hotspot. So it's not that good in my experience. But either way it works. Yeah. Sure to get a fresh skull, teleport to the northern entrance, option 1. You can also use an Everest. If you have any dupes laying around, I think it's worth risking them. Kill your dragons like normal, and switch to a slaughter bracelet right before you kill them. Your best escape for PKs here is freeze logging. So equip your mage gear real quick, freeze as you're about to get unfrozen yourself, and log out under any PKs or go around the corner. I'll add an unlisted me escaping PKs video in the description if you're interested. Revenant Knights are pretty much the same as Dragons, in that I would only recommend going there if you have a Web Weaver or an Ursine Chainmace. They are literally the same drop rate and pretty much the same kills per hour. In my opinion, they are a little bit worse than Dragons, just because they're in higher level wilderness. So you have to tank longer if you want to tank down to the 30 line for any PKs. And they also seem to do more damage, so sometimes in my trips I was quite low on hard food, which could be an issue. Otherwise, it's just the same as the other revs. Use freezes to escape PKs. And don't forget to use your slaughter bracelet swaps. Also, don't fall for the Revenant Knight safe spot memes. It's really bad. You're spending so much time waiting for respawns and safe spotting them that your kills per hour are awful. This is really only an option for Snowflake accounts. Rogues teleport to Rogue's Castle with the Obelisk or the Wilderness Sword. Run over. Once you're there, we're attacking the low-level rogues with either a blowpipe or the Web Weaver. And we're just going in a circle through the building. I'll put the NPC ID on screen for these low-level rogues. And also in the description. So you can mark these ones specifically with better NPC highlight. Okay, when we get here, we put down our cannon here. This one is shooting the higher level rogues while we deal with those lower level ones. Okay, and now we just keep going in a circle. And you get your point task then. Skeletons are a quick point task you can do with a bowfer or with a bow. Teleport to Burning Amulet 2 and use a cannon. This is like all the other singles cannon tasks where the goal is just to stay out of combat, so your cannon can basically shoot as if it was multi. Bandits, another point task. Teleport to Bandit Camp, obviously. Use the Venator bow and the cannon. Credit to Redeyejedi again for this point task, as for pretty much all the other point tasks, to be honest. I have the lower level NPCs marked to focus them because they have low HP. With better NPC highlight, the plugin, and I'll flash the relevant IDs on screen. But I'll also put them in the description. Remember, if I don't, please yell at me. Just, you know, click the green boxes and enjoy your points. Black Dragons are a quick point task that also drop Black D'hide and Dragon Bones. This task takes about 4 minutes, so I think it's worth doing for points. Teleport to Wilderness Crabs. Run over. Use your Expeditious Bracelets. If you don't want to use Ether or don't have a Web Weaver or Ursine Chain Mace, just go with the Lance. Run in, don't forget to use your Superior Anti-Dragon Potion. And just shoot the Black Dragons as you build your cannon. Very melee. And this is a quick task. Dark Warriors are a pretty good task that drops both heart clues and larran keys at a pretty good rate. I think it's about 13 heart clues an hour. For this, just teleport to Bandit Camp, option 2 on the Burning Amulet. Run in. Stack your Dark Warriors and barrage. For Green Dragons, we're using a Web Weaver here. Note that technically for Irons, it's not efficient to use a Web Weaver because of the ether costs. Assuming you are limited on ether. If you have more ether than you need, then Web Weaver is definitely better, and it's also only very slightly worse than Lance. Ursine Chain Mace is probably even better, but I don't have one. Once you get to the Green Dragons, just shoot the bottom southwest 4 once and go in a circle around them. This task is efficient for prayer XP for Irons. It's debatable whether or not picking up the hides is worth it or not. Because of the coral herblore meta, there have been some changes where basically the GP is less valuable. I don't want to go into too much detail on it. I do pick up the hides and I bank. If you're in doubt, then just pick up the hides. Task also gives a decent amount of heart clues. For Moss Giants, teleport to the Deep Wildy Rev Cave entrance, option 1. And this is another one of these single with cannon tasks. So the name of the game is put up your cannon and try to stay out of combat, so your cannon can shoot freely. As far as point tasks go, this one is kind of a bad one, to be honest. It takes like 10 minutes or so. But it allows you to get the best rate for mossy keys in the game. So if you want to get the Bright Fighter's Essence, you should definitely do these on task. Probably even use a Slaughter Bracelet. And make sure to use a long-range weapon, so if you don't have a Web Weaver, use the bow for here. For Black Knights, teleport to Wilderness Crabs, run to the west, and put down your cannon. You can use either Venator or Web Weaver bow here. If you want, you can, switch between the two. If you have multiple Black Knights on you, you use your Venator bow. If not, use the Web Weaver. Try to stick towards the southwest here, where the cannon can't reach, behind that wall. And otherwise, it's just another one of these point tasks. And I guess you can also increase your White Knight rank by killing Black Knights, if you care about that. Hydrants are another point task that also has some secondary benefits, namely Giant's Keys and Giant Champion Scrolls. I have to mention though that you can get Giants keys just as fast outside the wilderness, unlike with Moss Giants and Mossy keys. Yeah, these are quite optional to include if you want the Hill Giant Club. This is another one of these single but not really single tasks where you're using a cannon and you're trying to stay out of combat. Basically just shoot whatever hill giant is close to you. There are 2 spawns that can reach you if you stand in this tile. There's one spawn directly to the south of you and one spawn to the northwest of you. That was the northwestern spawn that just spawned, that one I click now. So kill that one if it spawns, and then there's one spawn that's right to the south of you. I think it will spawn in a second. Yeah, there we go. That one can also reach you, so kill that one also ASAP. And then just shoot whatever and let the cannon do its thing. Lava drinks are a very decent task for both clogging and XP, assuming you have a web weaver bow or a Ephemeran scepter. In terms of XP, you can expect to bank 110,000 prey XP an hour, 15,000 crafting XP an hour, and 66,000 herblo XP an hour, with 99 herblo and assuming you have anti-fire potions to match your lava scales. You can also get around 1.5 elite clues an hour. After accounting for the Revenant Ether usage, this is pretty much on par with Sarachnis, which is the elite clue meta for irons. Teleport to Rev Cave entrance north, and then run over to the Lava Dragon Isle. Use a cannon, if you want use telegrab, and just fire away. Make sure you close your looting bag as well, so you can crush your lava scale shards as you get them and they don't clog your inventory. For pirates, teleport to Ice Plateau. Make sure to bring a lockpick. I don't recommend doing zombie pirates on tasks because, first of all, the tasks are quite short and usually all the zombie pirates are pre-tagged. So you lose a lot of KC on tasks just from other people ragging your KC. Second of all, it's really annoying with the teleblocks, same as the other Chaos Druids. So you'll end up spending a bunch of time like running there, then you need to relog to use the teleblock. So it's really inconvenient. And also, Void is better than the Slayer setup anyways. And also, having the teleport anchoring scroll before you even do Wildy Slayer for Abbey Demons is really nice. Okay, so enough of that. For regular pirates, if you want points, do these. Just stand on this AFK here tile and, you know, kill them, or AFK if you want, without retaliate. Quick task. For zombies, teleport to Ferox Enclave or Karalangar. This is another one of these point tasks. I don't recommend doing zombie pirates on task because A, you're spending a lot of time traveling to and from them while the tasks are quite short. And B, a lot of the zombie pirates are already pre-tagged, so you don't get loot from them if you're an iron. And also, Void with the Venator Bow is best in slot anyways at zombie pirates, so you don't even speed up your kills per hour by going there on task. And getting the teleport anchoring scroll before starting Wildy Slayer, I would recommend anyways. It makes the Abbey Demons so much nicer. So yeah, for this task, it's another one of these singles tasks where you need to stay out of combat to let your cannon fire freely. And we do that by placing the cannon to the east, and then we stay to the west here and just stay out of combat. Apologies for my cat in the background. For bosses, I would highly recommend using a scout ult outside of the boss layer for all the singles bosses. It's so strong that I consider it kind of trolling to not use one, to be honest. You need the Wilderness Play Alarm plugin, and that means your screen will just flash yellow whenever a PK logs in. And you have like 3 or 4 seconds to seed out on your account that's inside the boss. So for me, I have not died a single time since using scout alts at singles bosses, and I've done thousands of KC at each of them. Is it broken? Yes. Should it be in the game? Probably not. But it's so good, and all you really need is a bond on a level 3 account. Like, you can just be level 3 from Tutorial Island with a bond on it, and you can go ahead and do this. Artio, this setup is about the same DPS as full Void setup if you have a Void Weaver bow. Utilizing a tank alt and a scout alt. I'll show a no tank alt setup in a second. 4k Rev Ether, enough for a full task, using a Crystal Dust as well. Teleporting in on my tank alt first and then my main. Just quickly showing what I risk on my tank alt. It's about 7 mil GP, but you pretty much should never die, because any Pkers that logs in will log in and try to kill your main first, so you have another, like, they have like 6-7 seconds to escape. So yeah, I'm not worried about this risk. Running in on both accounts with the Calvar'ion teleport. In terms of downgrades, it goes Ephemeron Scepter, Eye with Confliction Gauntlets, Trident with Confliction Gauntlets, and then Bofa. Okay, main is first, goes into one corner, camps spray melee, where the DPS main goes into the other corner, and Artio will bounce back and forth. And you can just tank some damage, and you get a little bit better DPS than using freezes, like 5% or so. Just because you can use thralls and double death charge. Now on what you do during the kills, make sure to pray range on the DPS and melee on the tank alt. Flick mage pray whenever you get attacked on both accounts. Now I'm just camping pray melee until he decides to walk away from me. You get enough food to sustain here, even tanking some occasional melees. This is the setup if you don't have a tank alt. Pretty much same setup, just bringing freezes with an Ancient Scepter. Still utilize the Scout alt. These amount of barrages are definitely overkill, but you should never die doing singles bosses, so it doesn't matter at all. We open with the ZCB once again. Level freeze. Pray mage when it mages you. Every 33% it will unfreeze, then just wait for its true tail to start moving, and then you barrage it again. Gonna unfreeze again. I'm ready to freeze as soon as it moves. Freeze again, and it dies. To finish it off, it's probably good to move in closer, but whatever. That's it. For Spindel, you're gonna go in with a melee setup, using an Elder Maul as well. This task is great because the Slayerhound bonus really matters for Spindel, it's really noticeable. So it's great to do these on task. This setup risks a Slayerhound because I've got a couple of dupes. If you don't want to risk the Slayerhound, just drop the auto switch and camp the Ring of Wealth. While running up to the Spider Cave, make sure to hover the Seed Pod to teleport out instantly. This is really the most dangerous part of the whole trip, because once you're inside with the Scout ult, you have a couple of seconds to react to catch a teleport. So we go in with our Super Combat. We start off with the Elder Maul. Use Discharge and Thralls, and use Rune Knives or Chins to deal with the Spiderlings. Double Death Charge is really helpful for Spindel because hitting Elder Maul really matters. In terms of downgrades, you could go for an Ink Mace or a Zamorak Enhancer or Zombie X. And in terms of upgrade, of course, it's the Ursine Mace. Instead of the Elder Maul, you can bring a D-Delving Warhammer. You can also do this with a Web Weaver. It's technically even better than the Scythe. But I really don't like ranging Spindel because if you stay next to her, she always melees. And you automatically get dragged if you're meleeing. So at the start of each kill, we do a Maul into a Scythe, and then we deal with the minions. Yeah, I'm using first take possible. I'm using Death Charge again. Really want to keep that up. After she moves twice, you want to move to the edge of the room. So she puts her net at the edge and it's out of the way, and you don't run over it and lose prayer and run energy. And that's it about the boss. Make sure to switch to your Ring of Wealth after you kill the boss. For Calvar'ion, we're using the Scythe. This task is very optional because the Slayer Helm is barely better than the Salve, and the tasks are very short. So this is pretty much a point task. Risking a Slayer Helm in this setup. If you don't want to risk it, just camp the Ring of Wealth. Using the Kisten spec, Thralls and Death Charge. It's under 50, the Hounds would spawn, so that melee attack was one too many side swings, but it's fine. In terms of gear, from best to worst, goes Ursine Chain Mace, Scythe, Inquisitor's Mace or Soul Reaper Axe on Crush, Bludgeon, and Zombie X or Zamorak Enhancer. And yeah, this boss is pretty easy, just dodge the lightning. When it dies, make sure to switch to a Ring of Wealth like that. Oh, and I see a PK on my ult now, so can easily teleport out. You have a couple seconds time. Easy peasy. For Chaos Elemental, I'm using a Red X ult. This is about 10% better DPS than soloing it. So you can see, start off by killing Chaos Ellie on your ult. In the meantime, I'm gearing on my main. Use Auto Retaliate on the ult. I have Web Weaver with 2k charges after charging, you know, so 3k ether. It's enough for an hour. Telegrab as well. Teleport up there. Might check on your tank ult. Eat up. And kill Chaos Ellie. You have to kill it once to set it up. If you don't have an ult, simply face tank it with brews and restores. Make sure you turn off Vile Smasher. Okay, so now we drop our clue for the 1 hour time on this tile. Turn off prayer, click take clue, and then click the house options. This stalls Chaos Ellie indefinitely when it spawns, as you can see. Don't mind the gravestone, I just died to a PKer. And now, as long as you stay max distance with the Web Weaver, Chaos Ellie won't be able to hit you back. So you stay on this row or this tile. Sometimes Chaos Ellie, like any NPC, Chaos Ellie has a 1 in 8 chance to spawn off by 1 tile to the north, south, east, or west. So sometimes you might have to move 1 tile. I missed that bracelet flick there, but whatever. And yeah, just switch to the bracelet right before it dies. The only chance to escape PKs here realistically is logging out. So if you want to be more safe, you can just camp the slaughter bracelet and hover the logout button. And anytime you kill Chaos Ellie, you just grab the supplies it drops with Telegrab. If you don't have an alt, the best method to do Chaos Eddy is to simply face tank it. Use a Workweaver bow if you have it, if not, use a Bowfer. We're using Thralls, and we're just face tanking, bring a bunch of brews, bring some extra range pots to pot up again. Obviously, the Obelisk and the POH, if you have it, is faster than the Willy Sword, but I don't have it. Forgot to switch to RCS, but thankfully I have my trusty max cap. Oh, and turn off Vial Smasher because you don't want your inventory to get empty. This method is about 10% worse than using a Red Exalt on task, just because you need to spend much longer banking, because you can't do like a whole 1 hour trip in one inventory. You have to bank like 3 times. And yeah, no, it's very straightforward. Just face tank it, use brews when you get low. 3 sips of brew, 1 sip of restore in the ranging pot. And make sure to use the food that the boss itself drops as well. Oh, don't forget to use a slaughter bracelet to swap at the end for longer tasks. For Chaos Fanatic, this is a setup I would recommend, using freezes to escape Pkers. Teleport there using the Gorok teleport, the Obelisk, or the Burning Amulet. Alternatively, if you're feeling confident or you think there aren't many PKers online, which is, happens quite commonly, you can just bring hard food, more prayer pots, more ranging pots, and thralls. Crazy Archeologist. This one is a pretty easy boss. Risking an occult here if you don't want to just bring a glory. Confliction Gauntlets really carry. So Trident or Eye also works just fine. Teleport to Dariyak. And just kill the boss. Pkers are very rare. If one does show up, just see it put away instantly. And you're chilling. This clog is really fast. Scorpia is really nice to do on task because you get the Slayer Helm DPS buff, which helps you deal with the DPS checks because the healers are less of an issue. This is a suicide setup with 1 mil risk because if a team logs in, you pretty much have no chance. You could also bring a tank swap and an RCB maybe to deal with the occasional solo PKer, but it's quite rare to find those. We're utilizing Ice Blitz. This helps us prolong our task because we're not barraging little scorpions on accident that would shorten our task. Heart and anti-poison. Burn in, we do 1 hit with the Accursed Scepter. And then we freeze with Ice Blitz, the Ancient Scepter. And then we freeze the Scorpia Guardian under Scorpia first, and then the other one. If it's frozen under, it can't heal. And we drag Scorpia away as far as possible as you can from the healers, to avoid them being able to unfreeze and heal her. Unfortunately, this one gets to her, but Scorpia is almost dead, so we just finish her off. Okay, so any other kill that's not the entrance kill pretty much works the same. 1 hit and then freeze. If you have an eye, do 2 hits and then freeze. And 2 to 3 more hits. We're going in close to lower our projectile delay. Freeze the farthest Scorpius Guardian first and then the closer one. So when they get unfrozen, they have longer to travel to Scorpia. Get Scorpia on the wall, and now it's maximum distance, so we freeze again. And now we kill her off. That's the whole method. Eye is very close to a Cursed Scepter and DPS here. That was it with my Wildy Slayer guide. Shout out to Redeyejedi once again for laying the groundwork on all the point tasks. If you like this, please feel free to subscribe. Leave me a like and a comment. And enjoy the rest of your day.